let me start off by asking you all a very peculiar question. If you were to build a statue of someone, who would it be? Now, for those of you who say, for example, Steve Jobs, I'd like to ask you to rethink that opinion. Because, yes, while Steve Jobs may have been a very strong influence on today's generation, he hasn't made as much of an impact on the world as much as people, for example, like Mahatma Gandhi. Which brings me to today's quote. Now, I was provided with quotes like Tony Robbins's, "If you do what you've always done, you will get what you've always gotten." But I thought to myself, there was one quote that I've always wanted to talk about because it related so much to me and the things that what I want to do. Be the change you wish to see in the world, by Mahatma Gandhi. Yes, you may see this walking into a teacher's classroom up on the wall or written on the front of a hipster's t-shirt. And while I may not be no hipster, I do have a t-shirt that reflects that quote with the words "Be the change" plastered on the front. What I think of when I hear this quote, it's changing yourself and your perception towards certain things in order to make sure that the future and the world around you is also better because of it. This can be shown through a literary example, a book where a boy who may not have any definite talents becomes one of the most successful people, at least to the people that he loves and he cares about. A historical example, in the Battle of Thermopylae, which can be summarized in 3 words, "This is Sparta," and a popular rap icon of today by the name of Marshall Mathers. Now, on to my first point of analysis, the book Ungifted by Gordon Corman. A boy named Donovan Curtis is faced with the issue that he's just not talented. He doesn't have any definite thing inside of him that makes him special than other people. Through a few miscues here and there and his name getting placed on the gifted programs list, he accidentally ends up in a group where you have a math genius sitting in the back right corner and a musical prodigy sitting in the front left. He didn't feel like he fit in because he didn't have any talents inside of him. Soon, he joined the robotics team thinking that maybe some form of creativity would arise within him and he would be of some success. Little did he know that despite not having any definite talents, and despite not being able to showcase these, he was actually a very valuable member of the team. His team didn't actually win in the competition, but he got them far enough to realize that not everyone needs to be a musical prodigy or a scientific genius in order to be a success or a help to other people. My second point of analysis is the Battle of Thermopylae, in which the Spartan army fought against the Persian army. Now, this battle has been depicted in the 300 movie series. And the Spartan army was outnumbered by so many people by the Persian army. But the Spartan army is one of the most renowned ancient Grecian armies because of their war tactics. This was the army that had sent small 7-year-old kids all the way to little combat training sessions in order to prepare them for war. This was the army that when characterized, you thought of slicing off someone's head. Not actual methodical and tactical war approaches, but with strength, brutality, and brute force. But they encountered a peculiar situation when they were actually outnumbered. They didn't know what to do. At this point, they couldn't actually use their real tactics of chopping someone's head off or breaking someone's limbs, because that just plain and simple wouldn't work. They had to find a different way, a different approach to the war in order to come out successful. They had to change themselves in order to have an impact on the war and the world itself. They didn't exactly come out on top, but yes, they fought a great war, and now armies today have realized that if you have determination and if you have the tactics where you can change yourself, those are the most important things to possess. Lastly, a popular rap artist today by the name of Eminem, more formally known as Marshall Mathers, has had to deal with lots of difficulties in his life. But the reason that I chose him to reflect this quote is because not just having to move from hundreds of different houses in Detroit, and not just having to be constantly bullied in school, when he was actually at his peak in the rap game, in 2009, he drug overdosed. He had made a few bad decisions, and he later ended up in the hospital. He was told he only had 2 hours left to live. Miraculously, he pulled it off. Somehow, he managed to stay alive and quit taking drugs forever. He realized that in order to become an inspiration and a good influence on his entire fan base, he needed to stop making these bad decisions. He needed to stop putting his life on the line and actually protect it. Make sure that his fans remember not to take drugs themselves. He needs to remember to make sure that his fans know the struggles that he's had to go through and that he doesn't want them to go through the same thing. He had to change his own personality and his own decisions in order to make an impact on his entire fan base and the entire world. All in all, be the change you wish to see in the world is just a mere call to action. It's something that defines how we need to be able to change ourselves, our motives, our perspectives on certain things, our decision-making skills, in order to make ourselves better, more ready for the future, and influence the people around us. Be the change you wish to see in the world is a quote that describes how we have to have the inner motivation to become successful and have the inner motivation for others to become successful because of us.